Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I will try to explain how I think you can make the best use of my Metagrids and hero guides before loading into a game. So let's start with the Metagrids first. Every day, I'm publishing the daily meta on Reddit and other social media accounts of mine like this. The Metagrids include highest win rate heroes that are above a certain pick rate. One of the questions that I get asked a lot is the following. Should I follow the meta in my own bracket or higher skill brackets like Divine or Immortal? Well, I think following the higher skill brackets might make you a better player in the long run, but it might have adverse effects in the short run. There are some certain heroes that you can abuse to get MMR relatively easier on your bracket because people in your bracket don't really know how to deal with them. You can make use of the heroes like that to gain MMR faster and more efficiently. But however, as you move on to the ladder, winning with those heroes gets harder and harder because the reason why higher skill players are at that MMR in the first place is that they actually figured out ways to counter the highly effective heroes of the lower skill brackets, like techies or Pudge. So yeah, and also meta of the higher skill brackets tend to have more complex and harder heroes, such as right now we don't have something complex here, but like we've seen Earth Spirit or other these kind of heroes in the meta, or Weaver position 4 might not be working for lower skill brackets. You might get flamed for it actually. So yeah, so um, so those heroes, no matter how broken they are, if you do not have any clue on the hero, you will probably have a bad game and you will probably get some reports and stuff like that. So be careful with those. Please choose your path that you want to take while keeping these suggestions in mind. Personally, I'm following the higher skill bracket path because I want to be a good player in the long run. But it's totally understandable that you would choose to play on your own bracket. So let's move on to the hero guides. Instead of choosing a few heroes from the daily meta and pressing the play button here, I try to understand what makes them strong first. And to make my research process a little bit faster, I included an overview section in the guides that I'm creating. So, for example, this is one of the guides that I have, and here normally you see only the items in game, but there's actually this view button here that allows you to gain more information about the guides. So after clicking this view button, you will start seeing the inside information here. So here on the overview section, I included two important data for our research. First one is exemplar matches that you see here. On every daily guide update, my script includes IDs of 15 recent games, showcasing an immortal player that is playing that hero quite successfully. These are the IDs that of the games. I usually pick the few different length games. For example, 25-minute one here, and 37 one on here. Longer duration games are to analyze the late game, and shorter duration games are to analyze stuff like how to snowball with that hero. For example, 16-minute game here. So after clicking, these are all links. So after clicking on the link, I don't see anything here, but on the background, it actually opens the game for me, and you can see the data here. For example, uh, there are heroes, which what was the name? What was the hero? So this was an Necrophos guide, so we should be seeing a Necrophos game here. Let's see. So as you can see, there's this Necrophos guy who has a high impact on the game. The game was short. He probably snowballed the offlane. So what I want to do is I usually if the game is good, if it doesn't have anything like a meepo mid lane or some unusual heroes that had a huge impact on the flow of the game like Broodmother etc. I try to analyze the games, and how I do it is the following. I just copy the ID here, and I go to the watch tab and replace section and search for the match IDs here. So you shouldn't have the backslash, of course. And then it loads up the match, and then I can download the replay and watch the perspective of the necrophos to understand the better. So after doing this for a couple of games for that hero, I think you will start to understand the key movements and the play style of the hero and what makes that hero strong in the current meta. So I highly suggest doing that. And the second important data in the overview section is that, second important thing is that we have the synergy part here. So the data here changes based on the role and the bracket of the guide. I use this section to understand if the hero is meta because it's broken, or it has a good synergy with what has been picked so far. For example, when Marcy got introduced, heroes like Outworld Dwarf or Draw Ranger started to appear more and more on the Metagrid. I believe because Marcy was getting picked a lot, heroes that counter her got more and more exposure and advantage, and because of that, they made it to the meta heroes. So the reason why they got into the meta grid might not be because they're quite strong at that particular patch, but because they're countering other heroes of the meta. The same logic applies to the good with section here as well. For example, in a meta where start seeing more and more gyrocopter, core gyrocopter, Wisp might become one of the meta heroes as well, even though it is not that good. But to be honest, when was Io not good? I can't really remember. So picking a hero that fits into that description that I explained, the ones that are good versus the current heroes, on the enemy, or good with the heroes that you're playing with, might not work if enemy did not pick the heroes that you counter, or your allies did not pick the heroes that you go well with. So yeah, that's it for this video. I hope I was able to shed some light into my thinking process before loading into a game. I will try to make another video on my thinking process for how I'm utilizing the guides in game, loading up and using this guide in the game. If you like this content and want to support it, you can subscribe, or you can visit my Buy Me a Coffee account so that you can do some donations. Have a great day. Bye bye.